Hello my dear friends, today I'm going to talk about my studio type machine here, which was in a studio which was in Switzerland. Now it's here in the studio room in Tuscany. I want to talk a little bit about tape and why not tape and how it works. So this is a 700 machine under the name Studio. It was also available under the number under the name Revox. Revox was especially for the high-end hi-fi domain systems, so hi-fi system at home, high-end, clearly top quality, and Studio especially for the recording studios and radio stations. The difference between the two machines is relatively little. First of all, the Studio version has a symmetrical in and output. This is a standard with the Canon plugs. This is a standard in the studios. And then it has a system that you can set on call or on call. By call position, you don't have to turn something at the machine for the loudness setting or recording setting, because this is done by the mixing desk. Another point is it has a connector for the meter bridge. Normally here was a meter bridge, is now here to see with the indication for the how you record, with which setting you record. And the third point was it has a connector for a fader start. So if you leave the fader on the mixing desk, which the machine is connected, the machine will automatically start with playing or recording whatever. This especially was useful in the radio station. Now to the work. First of all, I set them on 15 inches per second. That's 38 centimeters per second. So this is how the tape is put into the machine. It's with the comes here. Now we're going to advance a little bit. Here I set the machine on tape play. The other position is in, so I can control where the signal is coming to the machine. I'm going to take now the camera here that you can better see what the camera will do. I go and play.
Questo mondo d'egoismo si prega nelle chiese ma si pratica razzismo.
It's quite loud. Now it's to say there are some enterprises which sells on the internet or elsewhere tapes with the indication master tape. So that means you can buy something like an album like this. This is not available as tape, but there are other tapes which you can buy as a tape. So there are different tapes which you can have. You can have an 7.5 inches per second, or you can have 15 inches per second. But this tape costs quite money. Costs about around $400, so €400 or something else. In my opinion, this is too much. It's too much. Why you should buy a tape? Because you can do that also with the CDs. Vinyl, that makes noise, but you can also buy it as vinyl. But I was always happy when the CD, as sound engineer in the 80s, when the CDs comes, because the CD was the first item which brings the sound that way that I was hearing it from the mixing desk output. Because the tape was often a little bit make change, but the difference is anyway is little. So this is another position is there are maybe some DSD files on the market. This was the format from the Super Audio CD, because the Super Audio CDs is much better than the standard CD. The standard CDs runs with a sampling frequencies of 44.1, and the Super Audio CD DSD files, they're running with 2.8 million sampling frequencies. And the sampling frequencies, in my opinion, is much more important than the bit rate. So this is a 16-bit. For pop rock, is that enough? Absolutely, because this is louder than you can hear, that you're able to hear without hurting the ears. So, but the sampling frequencies is that what can make the sound harsh sounding or good. And with 2.8, you don't hear a difference between the original and the disc. This could be an option, but also with the normal CD, I can hear here. Here you hear the sound up from tape. We're gonna start here also from things. Here is another. This is the cassette driver with this also Studer. This was also available. It's Revox. The difference is this has no input for microphones. Another little difference. This is, by the way, this was important. This by CD is a first-class digital analog converter. This is here the DA30. This is a linear 18-bit digital analog converter. This is very important. This runs here. And now I'm going to play this here. This was the CD.
Madre terra che piange in bocca aiuto, ormai siamo in declino, è ora di fermare sì. Dimmi che fa l'umanità, inquiniamo e distruggiamo, inventiamo incubi che poi ci ammazzano, si parla dell'ozono, dei suoi tassi allarmanti, ho garanzia dal buio usciremo.
It's clear with that little microphone it's a little bit difficult to hear a difference, but I can say the tape for me sounds a little bit better, but not that the tape is technically better, but the tape makes a little bit an influence on the recording, and this is what makes that I like the tape. The playing of the tape better than the CD. This CD was a CD which I had recorded in our studio in the 90s. It was recorded on a 2-inch 24-track analog tape machine, and then it was mixed by an analog console, and then it was recorded with the digital system, and this is what you hear from the CD directly the same way. With a good digital analog converter, you hear no difference between what was in the studio and that was what is on a CD. The difference is very, very tiny, but this sounds a little bit more comfortable for me to hear. But this is just a little difference. Now you have to think, if you buy a tape, you have to think about that this tape would not be an original one. This one, I am able to have because I was recorded that on my own label, I possess all the original tapes. I can hear the difference between what is on a CD and what is on a tape. Analog or digital, I have all. But if you buy a tape, then it would be a tape which is manufactured maybe from the original master tape. This is often this kind of tape, a quad-inch. Then some enterprises copied them on a 1-inch tape stereo. There is existing machine like this, and then they make all the copy from them, which that you can buy on a quad-inch tape. That means is a copy from a copy. With this 1-inch tape, they hope that the difference, or that what you're gonna lose in the sound quality, would be very tiny, that it is a copy of a copy. Here on this CD, if you put them in this play, you hear the original sound which is coming from the mixing desk on a disc. It needs first-class analog digital converter, and your CD player. This here is a Tascam. This is very good, but the converter is this one here. It's not that from the CD player. You need a first-class digital analog converter, and then it sounds very perfect, and you hear, I can say, the original one, even by Classic. For Classic, you can download DSD files. It's clear you need a converter that you can play the DSD files, but this would be much better than a copy of an analog tape. That is to say, we were a very little independent label. Mostly the records, this is another one, were it from the original tape. But by the large companies, they have to make a release in the United States, a release in Australia, and a release in Europe, in Germany, in French, and in UK or whatever. So they make always for them to send them to, from the US, for example, to UK, a copy. They don't send the original tape normally. They make a copy to send them to the label in the other country. So if they make the 1-inch tape from that means then this is a copy from a copy from a copy. It's gonna be the best, cannot be the best. Sounds certainly quite good. The work is very well done, but it's a copy of a copy of a copy, or a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy, or whatever. It's better to buy the CD and a first-class CD player, and especially a first-class digital analog converter, and then you have the perfect sound, and you pay maybe 10% of them, but the tape will cost you less. So this was, I wish you a nice evening here from the Tuscany, and thank you for watching. Make eventually, I always say that, always the people say make the click one here. This you can do as you like it. Goodbye.